In your head, in your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. Oh, I had to get that out. The Korean zombie is no longer with us. It's a sad, sad day in the world of mixed martial arts. Many mixed emotions. Emotions are high all around. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. That's the sport. That's why we love it. It was a Max Holloway blessed weekend, fight weekend. He took on the Korean Zombie in UFC Singapore. Man, like I said, emotions were just high, man. From the walkout to the walkout of the octagon just was a whole thing, and we're going to get into that momentarily. What's been going on? I mean, let me just tell you, folks. I'm just going to say this at least once an episode, but I think everybody should really be doing some yoga out there. Did a nice Sunday service class. Shout out Janessa, does a class called Sunday Service. It's like church. It's like my church. Every Sunday morning I like to wake up, do that hour and a half class, and just really sweat and breathe it out. And it's just the proper way to start a day. And if I could just encourage you guys to try one thing new in your life, try some yoga, or don't, or fuck me. So whatever you want to do, it's your life. Of course, I've worn this hoodie like 10,000 times on this podcast, even though there's only like 10 podcasts. But I had to just put it as a little background. Max Holloway came out with the win this weekend over the Korean Zombie. Man, I did a little recording. We're gonna make a video. I had a live reaction to the fight, from the walkout to the end. I just set up a little thing in my living room and just did a little watch along. We're gonna splice that together, make a little video, a little clip out of that. So check that out. I'll post that probably tomorrow or the next day, very soon after the podcast drops. Maybe even before the podcast drops, whatever I decide, honestly. Yeah, and I guess we could just jump into it. Man, I gotta say, too, I have like a fucking broken left hand going right now. I fell off my e-bike. It was a rainy day. I'm riding my e-bike. It started raining. And I went to turn on the street, and I'm not gonna lie, I was being a little careless. Like, it looked like no one was coming, and I just kind of was in a rush, and and I just started to turn, assuming no one was coming, and then of course someone was just popped up out of nowhere, forced me to turn hard, slid out, landed on my wrist. That's what hurt myself. My bike went sliding underneath this truck, just smashed into the front of like the grill of this truck. I get up, the guy's just sitting there with his hands up, older guy. And I go to the side, like almost to like expecting him to put his window down and like, are you okay? He never put his window down. He just sat there. I was like looking at him, like thinking we're going to talk. And he just, as soon as I got out of the way, he just left. And then everyone else behind him was opening the window. Are you okay? It's always embarrassing. I'm like, I'm fine. A little bloody knee, a little messed up wrists, but I was fine. And yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago. And this hand is still recovering. It's getting better, which is a good sign, but still, it's just annoying. Just something I just noticed right now. What else been going on? That's really it. I mean, college football came back. Can't say I'm a huge college football guy, but worth noting, I watched it yesterday. I am an Oklahoma Sooners fan when I do watch. As you know, football season, we said it last time, is approaching. Diehard Eagles fan, cannot wait. I know this is an MMA podcast, but you are always going to be forced to listen to me during the football season, at least for a couple minutes, maybe even a couple seconds. Who knows but every now and then I'm going to rant about my birds. So you just got to get over that. Hold on one second. I'm a little out of breath. We had it all ready to go, and then just fucking last minute, I'm like running in and out. I'm like, oh, I forgot to do this and that and this and that. And now here we are. So let's jump into these fights, huh? Like I said, it was an emotional night all around, and in multiple fights. And we'll start with the main event, obviously. Max Holloway, the Korean Zombie. A lot of implications going into this one, saying that the Korean Zombie. This was going to be his last fight, his retirement fight. Against like what a crazy retirement fight to have against Max Holloway, which is very interesting in itself, that Max Holloway and the Korean Zombie, who are both legends of the featherweight division, have been in the sport for years, their paths have never crossed, and finally they do, and it happens to be on the Zombie's last fight, which like everyone going into this kind of had a feeling like that the Korean Zombie was probably going to get taken out. But let me tell you what, the way the fight started, let's just start with I love the UFC. They do everything so right. The commentators shut their mouths. The camera is just on a zoomed out image of the octagon, and then cue the Zombies music, famous, the song I started the podcast with by the Cranberries called Zombie. He's been coming out to this his whole career. Iconic song. Iconic man. What the hell is going on here? I got like hair falling on me. And like I said, commentators went silent, zoomed out image, cue the music, starts to turn up. Zombie comes out. The crowd goes crazy. Singapore crowd and the Asian crowds are usually quiet. They're usually, and it's not because they're not into it. They're very into it. They're just respectful, smart fans. And it's almost like in their culture, it's like I compared it, it's like a tennis crowd where while the action is happening, they tend to be like quiet and focused in, and then in between rounds, that's when the cheers and everything come out. But no, this time the Zombie came out, the crowd was on their feet, they were going crazy. He had such a big pop. It was beautiful to see. I mean, even in that moment, I'm just watching. I'm like, Jesus, this is such a moment. And then obviously Max Holloway comes out second. Going into the fight week, he's getting emotional, talking about the whole thing going on in Hawaii with the fires. Knows many people and their families that are devastated by the whole thing. Many people have lost their lives to these fires. And he's getting emotional on fight week in the interview, saying how he's coming in with extra pressure. Hawaii's on his back. He's doing this for Hawaii. So I mean, anytime Max doesn't need motivation to fight the way he fights, but when he comes in saying that he has something on his back and pressure is on him for these heavy reasons, it just makes for an interesting Max Holloway performance. But the performance just looked like pretty much any other Max Holloway performance, which is, oh man, there's just so much good to say about Max. Let's also talk about the good of Zombie though. Like in round one, Zombie came out confident. Usually is a confident guy, very calm guy, knows how to just be in the moment. Just really picked his shots in the beginning, landed some hard shots on Max. At one point had him stunned, which is very rare to hit Max and Max like show, the effects. And he did well. I actually I did rewatch the fight last night, and the first round did look a little different now that I rewatched it. But I remember watching it the first time thinking, I'll give it to Zombie. Zombie, I thought, did enough. I thought Max was very patient. I thought he picked his shots well. I thought he mixed it up well. He mixed it up from the body, kicks, headshot, but it's just a little bit less volume than we're used to from him. I just felt it was very patient on Max's part, which is a good thing. And looking back, watching it the second time, I think I have to watch it a third time to really score that first round, but I'm going to just say that Zombie won the first round. And then the second round looked different. Max really turned it on, looked like typical Max, was still mixing his shots, but with more volume. You saw, I noted when his eyes light up, he gets this look when his eyes just like open up a little bit wider, and he's just kind of like, you just feel the intensity, and that's usually a bad sign. Like when Max gets that look going, it's not looking good for you. And he proceeded just to put it on the Zombie. Came out with a pretty dominant second round victory, and then he won the second round. And then the third round, very interesting thing happens. It's like the Zombie just made a decision that he was like, you know what? I'm tired of this picking and going. I'm just gonna go out, put it all on the line, and just go for the win and just fuck it. Which is always very rarely does that kind of happen in the UFC or in mixed martial, in the sport in general. Like when someone just decides, fuck it, win, loss, whatever, I'm just going for it. If I get knocked out, I get knocked out. That's usually why people don't do it, because it comes with that risk of getting knocked out, and who wants to get knocked out? But it's almost honorable though in that way that Zombie just decided to let it go like that. You could just tell he was just probably frustrated from that second round and was just like, you know what, fuck this, I'm just doing it. And it did not end well for him. He pretty much whiffed on most of those shots. Max stayed cool, calm, and collected, waited for his moment, just landed a crazy, beautiful overhand right on the forehead, and just dropped Zombie. It was kind of ugly the way Zombie fell. He like landed like forehead into the canvas, literally bounced his head off the canvas. Had a really bad cut on his forehead. I thought the canvas might have caused it. It still might have, but the one shot I saw, it looked like the cut opened up from that right hand. So, I mean, that was like one of, also at one point Max almost had a Darce choke, which was very interesting, but he couldn't get the leg hooked. Zombie did a good job at circling it out until he just got up. And I just had to note that because that's why he's the Korean Zombie. That's like why he gets his nickname. It's like when he's in a position where it's like it's over, dead to rights, you're caught in something where it's just like it's over, you've lost, he somehow finds a way to come back to life and stand. And it was cool. He got out of the submission, he stood up, and he was like, stuck his tongue out, he's like, I'm still here, baby. And it was a cool moment, especially to have in the Zombie's last fight. So he ends up getting knocked out. Max goes crazy, jumps out of the ring, goes and embraces his wife, I'm sorry. Pro surfboarder, by the way, Alessa, very popular in Hawaii and in the surf community. No mini blessed in attendance this time. Probably a long travel, but not that long from Hawaii, you would think. The flight from Singapore, I think it's like 8 hours or something. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. I know it's at least 6. No mini blessed was in attendance, his son. But after that, immediately he goes back into the octagon, embraces Zombie. Max is such a stand-up, classy guy. I really don't think there's anybody else in the UFC that represents mixed martial arts as well as he does. I get it. It's the fight industry. Sometimes it gets ugly. Sometimes people talk shit, and it's like, that's great too. But when it comes to respect, the thing I love about Max is that outside the octagon, it's all respect. It's all honorable. It's just all very cool, calm, and collected on his part. But when he's in there, he knows how to turn it on. He's not too respectful in there. That's the balance of the sport that I love, is that I like when people are respectful and outside the octagon, but I don't like seeing them too respectful in the octagon. Like once you're in there, you want to see that dog come. You want to see that switch turn on, and that's what Max does very well. When he's in the octagon, it's like, no offense, but I'm here for a reason, and I'm here to do a job, and your health may come at risk with that, but he's not praying that anything bad happens to you, but if it has to happen, it has to happen. And at the end, he's going to be nothing but respectful always. So big shout out to Max. The reason why he's my favorite fighter. And now let's talk about also very emotional scene, hand up gesture, posting a picture. Took a screenshot, or I took a picture of the screen. Korean Zombie walking out with his girl, his wife, after the fight was a moment, and I just felt the need. I just thought about that. I just want to post that picture. So, they played this. They put the song back on when he was leaving. He took the gloves off. He bowed down. He started to cry a little bit, and then the song kicks on, and he's walking out of the octagon with his girl. It was definitely a moment. I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. And, I kind of ruined a moment that could have happened on this podcast last night because I rewatched it. It's like I got emotional. Like I literally was like, and I was telling myself, I was like, I might cry on the podcast tomorrow. Like talking about that. I am like getting a little emotional now, and I definitely have the chills, but I'm holding back because I experienced it like so heavily last night rewatching it. And yeah, I don't know. I no other sport does this to me. I was actually thinking about this, like even like I said, I'm a diehard Eagles fan, but even when they won the Super Bowl, like I didn't cry. You know, like was I happy? Of course. You know what I was actually thinking? The last time that I felt this emotional about a sporting event that wasn't fighting. It's like I get emotional every weekend with fights, and we're gonna get to another fight that happened on this card that was also, you know, I didn't like tear up or nothing, but it was like just an emotional roller coaster. But the last sporting event that did that to me, that made me emotional, that wasn't fighting, was the World Cup. Messi winning the World Cup. That was incredible. Like just the way that game went, man. It was you want to talk about a roller coaster. That was King the Ka, baby. That was I mean, you know, like from Mbappe tying it up, and then it's like holy shit, and then you go to the shootout, and then the overtime. It was just crazy. And then for Messi to pull it out at the end, and here comes the dogs. It's once a podcast, they have to come barging into the room, like no respect. Yeah, so emotional night nonetheless, and we'll leave it at that. Oh, I wanted to think about what was next for Max Holloway. Now, everyone's talking about him moving up to lightweight. Personally, myself, I don't mind seeing the fourth fight with Volkanovski. I think that Max is getting better. I think Volk is getting better. You know my thoughts on the Volk Max trilogy. I think Max won the second fight, kind of fucked him. And you know that's not me. I had a Twitter troll come and say something. I was writing something about the second fight, how I thought Max won, and I don't know. It's something he came at me somewhere along the line, something along the lines of using that as to console or to cope. He was saying I was coping by saying that I thought Max won. I'm like, it's not about coping. It's like, and then he's like, oh, what happened the third fight and all that stuff. Yeah, I know what happened the third fight, but that's the thing about fighting. If Max gets the win like he should have in the second fight, the momentum, the energy inside of them changes. Like now Volk might be a little bit more, cautious going into the third. Max is probably going to be a lot more confident going into the third. And it's just everything changes. The training changes. The mind state changes. There's too many. It's a butterfly effect thing. So whatever. Either way. So with that being said, I think I wouldn't mind seeing Max and Volk do another one. Maybe even for their next fight. I think Max is a true featherweight. I don't mind seeing Max go up to lightweight. I just want to see him train his body to become a lightweight before he does it. You know, he had that fight with Dustin Poirier, which, by the way, that's what this shirt comes from. No, I was not there. My mom and her boyfriend were there, and I said, you better bring me a shirt back from that bitch. And they did. And also notably, Israel Adesanya, who we'll tease later, has a fight coming up with Sean Strickland. He was on that card. Famous fight with him and Kelvin Gastelum, which was the co-main event to Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. And again, close fight. Thought Max held his own, but Max on short notice kind of took that fight and kind of came in just looking like a little blown up featherweight, not like a true. My arm is like twitching out right now. Came in looking like a blown up featherweight rather than like a true lightweight. So if Max goes to lightweight, I just want to see him train his body and become a lightweight, not just go up on a like a 3-week notice fight and fight someone. So yeah, so that's what I think should happen. I think Max should fight Volk again and then go from there. No need to dissect it. We'll see what happens. UFC is going to do what they're going to do. Jesus, my senses are all crazy right now. Excuse me one moment. Anyway, we're back. Let's move on to the co-main event. This one pissed me off. Anthony Smith, Ryan Spann. I mean, and I'll tell you why it pissed me off. Obviously, it has to do with betting. I had a 5-leg parlay going. Hit all my shit. Everything's going well. 4 fights out of the 5. Dubs. Here we go. Going into the Anthony Smith-Ryan Spann fight. I decided to take Ryan Spann in this one. I thought Ryan Spann... I feel like Ryan Spann in his last couple fights is just like learned from his last loss to Anthony Smith. Realized he has to get his takedown defense better. He has to get his grappling better, and I'll tell you what, he looked great in this fight. He looked sharper. He looked fast. He looked powerful. He stopped a lot of Anthony Smith takedowns. Anthony Smith started this fight with a beautiful first round. I mean, just leg kicks were on point. The striking was on point. The technique was on point. He looked great. He won the first round pretty handily. Not a 10-8, but like did well. Ryan Spann in the second round comes out, rocks Anthony Smith, fucks his eye up, knocks him down. Easy win in the second round. And then it goes into the third round, and they're very cautious. You could tell that they're like trying to pick their shots carefully. You know, obviously now that's 1-1, you're going into the third. You know you both have to win this. You can't make a mistake. So they're being a little cautious. But overall, go watch the fight and tell me yourself. Ryan Spann had more volume, landed more, and that's it. And to me, like, you win. Like, you land more strikes. Nothing else happened. They both landed little strikes here and there. Anthony Smith had some good leg kicks. Couple shots up top, but Ryan Spann ultimately landed more shots and did more damage in that third round. There was no takedowns. And I thought Ryan Spann would kind of easily won it because he won the last two rounds. They give it to Anthony Smith. Fucks my parlay. I mean, it wasn't nothing crazy. Let's be honest. It was a hand gesture, just so you know I'm not lying. It's funny. Eventually, I'm going to stop saying it, but just something for the editing so we know. But we're gonna post my my bet slip just so you know I'm not lying. But you know, I don't bet like I once did. I say this every time. This was a $5 bet to win $70. But you know, come on, I get it. You're only risking $5, but like, you just cost me $70 right there. You know, that buys me like, you know, food and dog food and all that other good stuff. So it never, you know, it doesn't hurt to have $70 extra in your pocket. And the judges fucked me out of that. So. Fuck you, judges. I'm sick of your shit, honestly. I really am. You know, but that's, you know, it's my own fault too. That's what happens with gambling. Like, it just makes you care extra now. Like, when you get fucked, you're just mad because it's hitting your pockets. But at the end of the day, yeah, it pisses me off in the sport anyway. Even if I wasn't betting, I'm like, well, you just fucked Ryan Spann in his career out of a loss. Now he has to live with a loss that he doesn't deserve. And now that changes the trajectory of your whole career and who you fight next and your pull and your clout that you have in the sport and the promotion. I mean, I can only just hope that like the higher ups notice when that shit happens and don't take it out on them and don't use it against them. And I think a lot of times they do what's right. I know Dana White has in the past been in agreement with these horrible, has been vocal against these horrible decisions. Bronny, you don't fuck with the fucking thing, man. Don't fuck with the camera. And he's been vocal about these bad judges, and he's compensated fighters in the past for even when they lose because he feels strongly that they didn't. So you just only hope that happens more often than not. Let's move on. This is a fun one right here. This was a great fight. Giga-Alex, Alex Caceres. I called this one the Battle of the Ninjas because that was the style of this fight. Just two ninjas in the octagon dancing it out, man. The athleticism between these two, the lean, rangy fighters that they both are. It was all high level striking. The kicks were amazing. It was just spinny and tight and technical. It was a fun fight to watch. Giga-Alex coming off a hard loss to Calvin Kattar, just got his ass beat in that fight. Took a long time off and then came back correct. Looked like his old self, but like maybe even a better version of himself. Alex Caceres looked great as well. Kind of took the brunt of the damage in this one. And I'll tell you what, Alex Caceres has a fucking chin on him. Because this guy took some clean, knockout-looking strikes. And just, it didn't even affect him. Like it was just like he took it and his face never changed. Maybe it has to do something with his yogi energy. He's very in touch with his mind, body, and soul is very connected. His chakras are in good alignment. And maybe that's the reason for his great chin. It's just a mind state thing. I believe in that too. I think sometimes a strong mind can carry you anywhere that you want to go. So it almost makes you superhuman. Let's see, what do I have here? Yeah, and we'll post a picture as well of the aftermath. Again, very beautiful, respectful moment after they shared a picture in the back. Alex Caceres laid up on a stretcher. Giga, all smiles, all love. Again, another beautiful display of mixed martial arts. Two dudes go in there, put it all on the line, beat the fucking shit out of each other, and then embrace each other at the end and smile and take one for the camera just to show you that it's all love. So, beautiful moment. Moving on to the next fight. Rinya Nakamura took on Fernie Garcia. Nakamura is a big prospect coming out of Japan. And in this fight, he lived up to the hype. This guy is the real deal. Dominant win over Fernie Garcia. Just every aspect of the fight, he was in control. Standing up, takedowns, ground control, transitions. It was just everywhere the fight went, he was in control. And Fernie Garcia, pretty game opponent. Newer guy, also a prospect in his own. So it was an impressive win by Nakamura. I do think that he needs to go up now and what do you call it? He needs to fight some more high-level opponents going forward. He's a high-level guy, and he needs to start breaking into the top 15 soon. Can't wait to see him come back and fight. He's someone to look out for. Rinya Nakamura. Write it down, folks. Japanese fighter. And then this is the fight I was saying before that kind of was an emotional roller coaster as well. The Erin Blanchfield, Taila Santos. If you watched last week's, you know how much, you know what I had to say about it going into it. Two high-level fighters. Taila Santos, like I said, notably fought Valentina Shevchenko for the belt. Lost a bad decision, I believe. I thought she won, and honestly, whether she won or lost, the fight that she put up against Valentina in her absolute prime was outstanding. She's high level as it gets. She is a great grappler. She has amazing takedown defense like we saw in this one. And yeah, let's just break down this fight real quick. So the way this fight, and Erin Blanchfield in her own I think she's 11-1 on a 9-fight win streak, undefeated in the UFC, strong grappler, strong woman, and has decent striking. Taila Santos definitely had the speed advantage and maybe the more technical strikes in this one. Santos easily won first round. It was looking like it was going to be a long night for Erin Blanchfield, and that was pretty surprising to me how well Taila did in the first round. It was pretty dominant. The striking, she had the striking advantage the whole time. She stuffed every one of Erin's takedowns in the first round. And I was thinking that, oh shit, Erin's probably gonna, get. And again, this was out on my parlay. I had Erin Blanchfield on my parlay. I was thinking it could be a dub for my parlay right here. Goes to the second. Taila starts to slow down a bit. Erin was relentless with the pressure, and this is the sign of a good fighter, right? Like, loses the first round, gets pretty beat up, gets tagged in the nose. Her nose is all red, maybe a little bit of blood going. Gets stuffed on every takedown. Usually that takes a lot of energy out of you when you don't get your takedowns. Like, the energy you spend on trying to get a takedown is tremendous, no matter what. And right there you think, like, all right, maybe this is not going to be her night. But she kept that same pressure in the second round. Just Taila Santos started to just slow down just a tad. And it was enough for Erin just to press the gas and just get right in her face. Starts to land strikes of her own, open up Taila a little bit. Still going for those takedowns. Taila's still stuffing those takedowns, but eventually it's like Khabib style where Erin just like, Khabib would always famously say, like, listen, you could stop the first takedown, you could stop the second, you could stop the third, you could stop the fourth, you could stop the fifth. but I'm gonna keep coming. It's maybe by the 10th, maybe by the 20th, I'm gonna get you down, and that's what you're gonna expect from me. That's what Khabib used to say: is you're gonna like, I'm just gonna keep doing it, and eventually you're not gonna be able to stop it. And that's kind of like Erin Blanchfield's approach. Just keep going, just keep pressure, keep the takedowns attempts going, keep the striking going. And her cardio is tremendous to be able to do that. So the second round, I think she edged out Taila in the second with her pressure, landed more strikes, ended up getting takedowns, secures her the second. In the third, Taila was just tired. She just no longer was there. The speed was no longer there. The volume was no longer there, and Blanchfield just took advantage of that, stayed in her face, popped her here and there, got a little takedown here and there, and just secured a win. So it was a great come from behind win on Erin Blanchfield's part against a high level opponent, and that puts her in a very comfortable spot in that division, and probably going to get her a title shot next. So who's that going to be against? Because now we got Valentina Shevchenko, who's no longer the champion, lost to Alexa Grasso. They're rematching. So now I'm guessing it's going to be the winner of that. Very interesting. Valentina, obviously dominant champion in the past, and there's no telling who's going to win that one. I have a feeling Alexa Grasso is going to keep the title, though. Alexa she's just running on a whole different energy these days. And like we talked about with the Max, or like I talked about with the Max and Volk situation, sometimes all it takes is that win to put your confidence through the roof. And with that confidence and that mind state, man, anything's possible. And now Valentina, maybe unsure of herself, took some big strikes in that, got hurt with the strike. So I think Alexa's probably going to hold on to that title, and then I would love to see that matchup, Alexa Grasso and Erin Blanchfield. That's a good one. That's exciting stuff. And that's what I'm going to predict happen. So let's see. And then the first fight of this of the main card. By the way, I mean, I think I forgot to mention. I did mention this is UFC Singapore. The prelims started 5 a.m. 5 a.m. Eastern time. I got up around like 6:30 because I have some fights on the prelims that by the way, it just reminded me, I got to go back and watch the fights that I didn't watch yet. I don't like to not watch any. I'm like having trouble wording the sentence. Jeez. Yeah, I love how you mouth it to me like I'm gonna know what you just said. Like, I'm telling you, I think this is more of an off-camera conversation that I wanted to have before, and I'm just gonna use the pressure of being live to say it. I want to get you a second mic, and I would love it if you could just chime in, like for this moment. You don't have to. I don't expect you to tell me about John Jones, even though you did correct me on who is fighting John Jones next in a crazy way that like only a fan would kind of know, but you just had a good memory, which another reason you could help me with remembering things, and just when I need help, you could fix it with your words and mine. All right, I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind right now, I think. Sometimes I think that I always like, we'll go into Sunday like, I need to do this yoga. It's gonna take off the edge. I'm gonna be looser. I'm gonna feel good. But ultimately, sometimes it's a real thing. When you do hot yoga, especially, it tires you out. I literally dump like gallons of sweat out of my body, and I leave there feeling loopy. It's like they call it. It's like a runner's high. You get a yoga high, especially from hot yoga. And sometimes I think like, oh, I'm going to be calm and cool. I'm going to be collected going into the podcast. But ultimately, I've realized that if the class is hard, it kind of just takes too much out of me, and I'm just still loopy. So my brain's not all here. I didn't do the yoga last week, and I felt like last week I was on my shit. But I feel like I'm still here. We're still here. Let's just move on. I'm sorry, I just went off on a tangent there. But we're going to get Carrie on a second mic soon. So if you hear a very sensual, silky voice pop in, just know that that's the producer. And like I've mentioned, he's a talented musician in his own, and maybe one day he'll be a part of this podcast voice-wise, and the ratings will go skyrocket just for his voice alone. I think you had one time that your voice, yes, one time it was for the World Cup that you voiced, and 3 people, which that's like all the listeners, every single person that listened to that podcast hit me up and said, who was that? His voice was amazing, and it just took me by surprise. Who was that? And I'm like, oh, it's just Carrie, it's just my guy. I mean, typical shit here on this side of the neighborhood. But he's very mysterious, and if you don't know, you don't know. It's one of those if you know, you knows, Yeah, anyway, so moving on. First fight of the night. Oh, but I never even finished my point. It was just a 5 a.m. prelim, 8 a.m. main card. Got to go back and watch those prelim fights. I watched a few. The one that stood out to me, my guy, I call him Baby Polish Power. I'm just trying to like say his name. He's I know it's Oleksiejczuk. That's Michal Oleksiejczuk. He's Polish. I call him Baby Polish Power because obviously that's what Jan Blachowicz, another Polish fighter, ex-champion, calls himself, and he literally looks just like Jan Blachowicz. Wait, finger up. Just real quick, we'll post a picture. I'm going to post a side-by-side with Baby Polish Power next to Daddy Polish Power. They literally look like the same person, just slightly different in size. Anyway, yeah, first fight of the night, Junior Tafa took on Parker Porter. This is kind of weird. Parker Porter, I'm on Twitter, and I just, like, Parker Porter is like this fat, schlumpy heavyweight fighter. Kind of looks a little white trashish. I don't like to say that. I feel like but it's just like, I'm just going off look. I know that's not who he is. Obviously, he has to be an incredible person to be a professional in the UFC as a heavyweight, and he is a good fighter, like solid game opponent. But I'm just saying, like, he's like his name's Parker Porter, and he looks like Porky Pig. Like, that's like, it's just, I guess that's why they probably love him. But on Twitter, there's just like this weird fandom of Parker Porter. Like, it's like kind of troll, but not really. Like, it's the same thing with what's his name, the GOAT, or they love to call him the GOAT. This is like, man, the sport just gets out of hand sometimes. Like, how am I drawing a blank on this guy's name when it's, you know why? Because he's no longer around. He's retired. Conor McGregor's, I'm going to get this. Conor McGregor's old workout partner, part of his camp, Russian dude. Anyone that's watching this that knows the UFC knows exactly what I'm talking about. They're hold on, it's going to hit me. Otherwise, if I have to go to the producer on this, I'm going to be upset. Choo choo motherfucker. That's like one of his moments. What the fuck? This is really bothering me. I almost don't want you to Google it though. Just be on standby. I'm gonna get this. Fuck. God, you know what? I'm really blaming being a little loopy still from yoga. I know his name. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. I know this is dead air, but I need. This is gonna bother me, man. The fact that I don't have his name on the top of my head. Khabib slapped him. This is embarrassing. This is an embarrassing moment for me to draw a blank on this guy's name. Give it to me. Who is it? No. Search. Oh, I almost had it. Whatever. Just search it. No shame. He's retired. He's no longer relevant, and this is how fast these. Just search choo choo motherfucker. UFC. Jeez. Gotta take a typing class. what the hell? Like, how is this not? Oh, there we go. Artem fucking Lobov, the Russian Hammer. Anyway, geez, this went so far off the tracks that I don't even now. Yeah, this is Parker Porter. They're treating Parker Porter like Artem Lobov, like where they're just like he's gonna fight John Jones and he's the next heavyweight. He's just like this fat motherfucker, and I'm not getting on that. I'm not getting on board. I was on board with the Artem Lobov being great, especially when he did bare knuckle. This is to show you, like, I know who I'm talking about. Like, he did bare knuckle, fought Paulie Malignaggi in bare knuckle and won. How cool is that? Pretty impressive win for Artem Lobov. Can't believe I drew a blank on Artem's name. Artem. Such a funny dude. Yeah, so Parker Porter, whatever. Who gives a shit? Junior Tafa. The interesting storyline on this one was that he fought Junior Tafa, who is a brother of Justin Tafa, who's in the UFC. Justin Tafa was the last person that Parker Porter fought. Parker Porter got knocked out by Justin Tafa. Now he's taking on his brother, another humongous Samoan New Zealand motherfucker. And Junior Tafa is like the raw, younger version of Justin Tafa with, like, I feel like a lot of potential. And you saw that he's growing. He's growing in the sport. Parker Porter went for some takedowns. That was his game plan, obviously, try to get him to the floor because those Tafa brothers just have too much power in those hands and it could turn your lights off in the blink of an eye. And Parker Porter got stuffed on all those takedowns, which was great on Junior Tafa's part. Showed great growth and ultimately found that chin and knocked out Parker Porter. So Parker Porter has been knocked out by both the Tafa brothers back to back. His brother was in his corner. This guy is like living a nightmare. But there was respect after. They embraced him. There's no, I mean, I guess when you win by knockout, it's easy to be nice to your opponent. But poor Parker Porter, but whatever. I don't want to make it sound like whatever, but you know, I'm more saying whatever about myself right now. I'm just like going on tangents, can't even put my sentences together. What made me think that I could do a podcast? Like what? Like really? Like what? You know what it is? I just love MMA and talking about it. That's why I decided to do it. But like, I'm not a good talker. I mean, what am I doing? This is why I want guests. This is why I want a co-host. It's easier to bounce ideas. If you're out there and you love MMA and you know me, and you think you make for a good guest or co-host, reach out to me, all right? I would love to have you. More the merrier. I'll even invest in another mic because one of these mics is going to go to my boy over here, and he's going to be chiming in. We're going to make it happen. He might even sing. All right. Let's go on to next week real quick. Next week, another fun location for the UFC. Paris, France. Second time. Return to Paris. Second time in Paris. Headlined again by Ciryl Gane and Sergey Spivak. Not Sergey Spivak the second time. Ciryl Gane. Second time headlining in his hometown of Paris, France. Look at this. Not a crazy favorite. I was expecting Ciryl Gane to be a bigger favorite than this, minus 180. I'm assuming it's because Sergey Spivak is a... Oh, I think we have a guest appearance. Come here, Bron. Come here. Come here, sweetheart. Come here. I'm like pulling him by his neck. Come here. I was going to say, I'm wearing all black, and this dog sheds like a motherfucker. I'm just going to have white hairs all over me. So, yeah. Look over there. Look this way. For the thumbnail, bro. For the thumbnail. Wait. All right. I think we got it. Mark that time so I could find it. Because that would help me, actually. Yes. UFC Paris. Big deal. Big venue, big headliner, hometown kid, Ciryl Gane. Yes, I think he's not as big a favorite for the reason that John Jones just demolished him in wrestling, and Sergey Spivak is nothing less than a wrestling specialist. That's like literally how he gets it done, is his wrestling. And yeah, I guess for that reason, I could see the path to victory being pretty clear for Spivak. I just think that Ciryl Gane's going to learn from that. I think Spivak is not John Jones. I think that Ciryl Gane is a talented guy, well-rounded guy. I don't see a world where Ciryl Gane loses this one. I get it. Like, I guess, like, Jesus, what the hell's going on with me? I guess if his grappling is that bad, then like Spivak should be able to win. But I just have a hard time believing that that's the case. I just think that John Jones caught him in a heat of in a big moment. Maybe the moment was too big for Ciryl. I think Ciryl was a little nervous going to. You're fighting the greatest of all time, John Jones, in his comeback fight at heavyweight. Like, it was just, the moment might have been too big. But scroll down. I know there's another. I love this co-main event too. Another France native, Manon Fior, taking on Doug Rose Namajunas. Everyone loves Doug Rose. But Manon Fior is a high-level prospect on the rise. Made her way to number 2 in the division. I don't know why they have them both listed at number 2. I think Rose is probably number 1, or at least like number 1 contender. Man, this is an exciting matchup in itself. Not really much to say about it. Both rangy, great striking abilities between them both. Oh, wow. Manon Fior favorite? That's crazy. I guess they're really just like playing again on Rose's past performance, like with Carla Esparza. Like sometimes she shows up for the moment and sometimes she wilters from the moment. So I guess she is very 50-50 when it comes to that. Oh, he's sitting down. This is actually kind of cool. We should do this every time, Bron. I love this. He's like a centerpiece to my desk. Scroll down. I just want to see what else we got here. Thiago Moises taking on Benoit Saint-Denis, or Benoit Saint-Denis. Volkan Ozdemir always makes for an exciting fight. That guy is nothing short of entertaining. So yeah, fun cards. I saw it before. Early prelims, bunch of new French fighters, which is exciting. It's nice to have fighters start to come into the UFC from new areas that, not a lot of people from those areas have been here before. Man, I really am I cannot talk today. I'm just a fucking mess. I think I started strong and I am just falling off the deep end. So let's try to wrap it up and put a bow on this piece of shit. No, I'm just kidding. Come on. Go to the and then so next week, next Saturday we have the Paris card, which is going to be exciting. And then the following week after that, we got UFC 293, pay-per-view. Always fun when it's a pay-per-view. And it's headlined by Israel Adesanya, taking on Sean Strickland. This feels like one of those fights similar to the Max and Zombie, where you just kind of don't see a path to victory for Sean Strickland. He's just a stand straight up, box with a little kicks in here and there kind of guy. And we saw him fight... he fought Alex Pereira, which is like basically the same exact style as Israel Adesanya, and he got knocked out fairly easily. And Israel Adesanya is coming off a win of knocking out Alex Pereira, and the confidence is through the roof. Sean Strickland did have a great last fight against an opponent who is a tall, rangy, striking kind of guy, but I don't know, man. Yeah, the lead-up's going to be fun. We'll get more into this in the weeks to come, but there's going to be a lot of shit talking, a lot of cringy moments between more from the Sean Strickland side. This guy has been known to say some wild, outlandish shit. But nonetheless, it is a pay-per-view. They are both great fighters in their own right, and it's still going to be entertaining. I just think it could be an early night. All right, you done? You had enough? I'm sorry. Don't worry. We're gonna go downstairs and we're gonna get some breakfast. What am I saying? You already ate. I'll give you a treat. Go. And the co-main event in that one is Tai Tuivasa taking on Alexander Volkov. Fun fight. And this is taking place in Sydney, Australia. Crowd is going to go absolute berserk for Tai Tuivasa and Israel Adesanya. Shoeys are going to be done. Beer is going to be spilled all over the arena. people's shoes are going to get fucked up. And, just a little peek too, Justin Tafa taking on Austin Lane, who he got eye poked by last time. That fight got, it went to a no contest due to the eye poke. They remade the fight. So now that's on this card coming up as well. Just a little preview. So we'll stop there. We'll get more into the pay-per-view next week. Leading into it, I'll give you my picks. I'll give you my picks for this upcoming weeks in Paris, France. Like I said, be on the lookout for that live reaction with the Max Holloway Korean Zombie. Please do all that good shit. Like, follow on Instagram. Caution to the Airwaves. Follow on X, formerly known as Twitter. Caution to the Airwaves. Subscribe. Help your boy out. I want to grow this thing. I want guests. I want to get the Zoom going with some fighters, maybe some fighter interviews would be nice. So please, anything, watch, like, do all that stuff. It's only going to help grow it and motivate me to do more with it. So I appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah, cue the music. Appreciate you as always being here, helping me out with this thing. I couldn't do it without you. We're going to get you on that second mic soon, maybe next week. And this has been another episode. Till next week. Goodbye.